In February 1945, the most vicious urban combat of the Pacific Theater took place in the Philippines. Japan's assault left over 100,000 civilians dead. This is the story of the Battle of Manila, and this is World War II in two. In October 1944, General Douglas MacArthur made his triumphant return to the Philippine Islands. After tough fighting on Leyte, MacArthur set his sights on Luzon and the liberation of Manila. In early January 1945, the 6th U.S. Army landed at Lingayen Gulf in northwest Luzon. Later that month, the 8th Army landed more divisions south of Manila. But Japanese Army Commander Yamashita, with nearly 270,000 troops, divided his forces and sought to use Luzon's most rugged terrain to delay the Americans and trap them in Luzon's Central Valley. In Manila, however, the Japanese Navy had other plans and resolved to fight for each block and building with no surrender and no survival. The result was a bitter month-long battle that destroyed most of the Pearl of the Orient and decimated its population. MacArthur had hoped to take the city without airstrikes and heavy artillery fires, but enemy defenses left American ground commanders with few options, while Japanese forces systematically tortured, raped, and murdered Filipino civilians. Every structure and ruin had to be searched and its Japanese defenders rooted out. Infantry squads relied on grenades, explosives, flamethrowers, machine guns, and tanks. The air was filled with deafening concussions from incessant explosions and collapsing buildings. Roaring fires lit the sky, and at times the mixture of smoke, heat, and dust made it almost impossible for soldiers to move forward. In some places, the Japanese defenders fought building by building and from room to room without surrender. At one point, the Americans broadcast a plea for the Japanese to surrender, or at least to evacuate civilians to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. No answer was received. On February 28, 1945, MacArthur re-established the Commonwealth government in Manila, ending his address by saying, "Your capital city, cruelly punished though it be, has regained its rightful place, citadel of democracy in the East." Even as the fighting continued, teams began collecting eyewitness and documentary evidence of Japanese atrocities. Resistance finally crumbled in March 1945. More than 1,000 Americans, 16,000 Japanese, and over 100,000 Filipinos were killed in the battle for Manila. For some American leaders, the experience raised concerns about what urban combat might lie ahead in the planned invasion of Japan.